Have you been told your whole life that the more you exercise, the longer you'll live? What if I told you that, after the age of 70, that advice could be doing more harm than good? You've always been told to move more, right? But after 70, the body changes, and what once helped you stay fit might now be wearing you down. Today, I'll show you 3 powerful alternatives that help you stay strong and independent without pushing your body too far. My name is your name, and after more than a decade working closely with older adults, I've come to understand a vital truth. The most vibrant, active seniors I've worked with aren't the ones who spend the most hours moving. They're the ones who train smarter, not harder. I remember one man in particular, Robert, 76 years old, sharp and driven. He was doing 60 minutes of cardio daily because he believed it was the only way to stay young. But underneath that effort was a man worn down, with joint pain, rising blood pressure, and an ever-growing fear that his body was slipping away despite his discipline. When we adjusted his routine, trading constant cardio for targeted, restorative strength practices, everything changed. His posture improved, his energy returned, and he told me one day, "I don't feel like I'm fighting my body anymore. I feel like I'm working with it." If that resonates with you, if you've ever stuck with an old routine just because it used to work, comment the word "past" below. And if you've ever felt more tired after exercising than before you started, type "reset." Because you're not alone, and you deserve a new strategy. While you're here, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss content made specifically for healthy aging after 70. This isn't about giving up. It's about leveling up, rethinking your relationship with movement and longevity. Because today, we're not just changing how you move, we're reimagining what it means to thrive. So if you're ready to learn why strength, not speed, is the true key to staying independent after 70, let's dive in. 1. Focus on strength, not endurance. Let me ask you a question that might surprise you. When was the last time you trained to lift yourself, not just to last longer? After 70, the way we move must evolve. We've been told for decades that endurance is the key to longevity, that walking more or doing hours of cardio will keep us young. But here's the truth. That same advice that may have worked at 40 or 50 could now be silently working against you. You might think cardio keeps you young, but after 70, it may be breaking you down, one silent fall, one aching joint, one misstep at a time. What truly keeps you independent is not how far you can walk, it's how well you can lift, stabilize, and recover. I've seen this in real life. Joseph, one of my clients at 78, walked daily, did all the right things, yet struggled to get up from the floor without help. Why? Not because he lacked energy, but because his muscle mass had quietly disappeared. That's the danger of ignoring strength. We don't notice it until it's gone. And by then, basic movements, standing, carrying, catching your balance, become difficult or even dangerous. But here's the good news. You don't need to lift heavy weights or train like a bodybuilder. Functional strength, being able to stand from a chair, climb stairs, or carry a bag, can be rebuilt through simple, low-impact movements. Start with bodyweight squats, light dumbbell exercises, or resistance band pulls. Focus on your legs, your core, your arms, not with force, but with control and purpose. Because every rep is more than just exercise. It's a quiet investment in your freedom, your confidence, your ability to live on your terms. And those who maintain strength into their later years don't just survive, they move through life with dignity, grace, and peace of mind. And that brings us to something just as critical as strength, balance, and control. Because most injuries after 70 aren't caused by weakness, they're caused by a sudden loss of coordination. So let's go deeper into what it really means to train stability and how it can be the difference between a confident step and a life-altering fall. 2. Train for balance and coordination, not just raw strength. Strength is essential, yes, but without balance and coordination, it's incomplete. After 70, most injuries don't happen because someone wasn't strong enough. They happen because someone lost control in a single unexpected moment, a misstep, a stumble, a sudden shift in weight. That's why your training must go beyond lifting. It must teach your body how to stay steady. I once worked with a woman named Claire, 81 years old. She was physically strong and active, but she fell in her kitchen while reaching for a plate, simply because her body had forgotten how to adjust its position mid-movement. That fall cost her 6 weeks of independence. And sadly, that story isn't rare. Our bodies rely on thousands of micro-adjustments every day, tiny stabilizing muscles working quietly in the background. But if we stop challenging those systems, they fade. And when they fade, confidence fades too. The key is to retrain those systems with intention. Simple exercises, like standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, stepping side to side with your eyes closed, or doing controlled step-ups, can rebuild that inner sense of control. Balance isn't just physical, it's neurological, and it's trainable. When you improve coordination, you move through life differently. You step into the shower without fear, climb stairs without hesitation, reach overhead without wobbling. You feel steady, safe, in tune with your body again. And the confidence that comes with that? It's priceless. I've seen people in their 70s and 80s reclaim movement they thought was lost forever, simply by including a few minutes of balance work each day. You don't need fancy equipment or complicated routines. What you need is awareness, consistency, and trust in your body's ability to adapt. And when you combine strength with balance, something powerful happens. You stop being afraid of the ground. You stop fearing the future. You begin to move with intention again. And that's the beginning of a new kind of freedom. But of course, muscles and coordination need fuel. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, nutrition. Because without the right nutrients, even the smartest training won't give your body what it needs to grow stronger. So let's talk about what to eat, so your efforts don't go to waste. 3. Strength without nutrition is like building on sand. You've probably heard the saying, you are what you eat. But when it comes to aging well, here's a more accurate version. You keep what you feed. Because even the best strength training plan won't work if your body isn't getting the fuel it needs to build and repair muscle. And here's the hook. You can do every exercise perfectly, but if you're not eating the right nutrients, you're training on empty. After 70, your body processes protein differently. What used to be enough no longer is. I've seen so many older adults stay active, stay consistent with their movement, and still feel weak, sore, and frustrated. The common thread? Not enough protein. And not just that, too little hydration, too few essential amino acids, and not enough foods that support recovery. I'll never forget Maria, a 74-year-old client who exercised 5 days a week. But she constantly felt drained. Her legs felt heavy, and she never seemed to get stronger. When we looked at her meals, the answer was clear: coffee for breakfast, soup for lunch, and a light dinner. No wonder her body was struggling. It simply didn't have what it needed to rebuild. For older adults, protein needs can be 30% higher than in younger years. Your body's ability to synthesize muscle declines with age, so each bite counts. That's why I encourage my clients to think of protein as medicine for your muscles, not just part of a meal. Lean meats, eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, beans, and even collagen-rich bone broth can make a real difference. And don't forget to hydrate. Even mild dehydration can affect strength, coordination, and mental clarity. What you eat directly affects how well you move, how well you sleep, and how fast you recover. And without the right fuel, your workouts can feel like a car trying to run on fumes, loud, exhausting, and eventually stalled. So if you've been working hard but not seeing results, look at your plate. It might be the missing link. Now, strength and nutrition are the physical foundation, but there's one more piece: posture and alignment. Because even with strong muscles and proper fuel, if your body is out of balance, you'll still feel pain, fatigue, and instability. So let's talk about how to stand tall and why posture isn't just about how you look, but how you live. 4. Posture and recovery, the overlooked foundations of vitality. You've probably heard it before: stand tall. But what if I told you that how you carry yourself can affect how you breathe, how you digest, and even how much energy you have each day? That's not just about confidence, it's about function. Here's the hook: strong muscles and clean eating won't get you far if your posture is collapsing and your body never gets time to recover. Posture isn't just about appearances. It's about alignment, how your bones, joints, and muscles work together in harmony. And after 70, when spinal discs compress, joints stiffen, and muscles lose elasticity, poor posture can become a silent enemy. It can lead to chronic neck and back pain, shallow breathing, digestive discomfort, and even impaired balance. I once worked with Arthur, a 75-year-old retired engineer. Strong, lean, and disciplined, but always tired, hunched, and short of breath. It wasn't until we corrected his posture through targeted exercises and recovery routines that his energy came back. He said, "I didn't realize how much standing straighter would help me breathe easier and sleep better." So, how do you rebuild posture at this age? The key is to strengthen the back and core, gently but consistently. Start with posture resets. Stand with your back against a wall, heels, hips, shoulders, and head touching. Feel the alignment. Incorporate simple back extensions, wall angels, seated core holds. Posture isn't fixed by trying to sit up straight. It's restored through daily movement patterns that re-educate your body to hold itself naturally and efficiently. But posture is only one side of the coin. The other is recovery. Because no matter how well you move, your body needs rest to rebuild. After 70, muscle repair takes longer. Inflammation lingers. And if you don't rest well, if you sleep poorly or skip rest days, progress stalls. Active recovery like gentle walking, stretching, warm baths, or even short naps can help the nervous system reset and the muscles regenerate. Without recovery, you invite burnout, injury, and exhaustion. But when you combine good posture with smart rest, something amazing happens. You not only feel taller, you move through life with more ease, less pain, and greater confidence. And that takes us to the next critical pillar, your mind. Because no matter how strong your body becomes, your brain is still the command center. Let's talk about how to train that too. 5. Train your brain like you train your body. We talk so much about strengthening our bodies, but what about strengthening our minds? After all, your muscles help you move, but your brain decides where to go. And here's the truth. You can have strong legs and a solid core, but if your mind isn't being challenged, you're still at risk of decline. Cognitive health isn't just about avoiding memory loss. It's about staying sharp, connected, and independent. The brain, just like your muscles, needs resistance. It needs to be worked. And after 70, when mental stimulation naturally decreases due to retirement or reduced social engagement, the risk of mental stagnation rises quickly. Let me tell you about Ruth, 79, a former teacher. After retirement, she stopped reading deeply, avoided social outings, and slowly felt more foggy, as she put it. We introduced a routine, daily reading of challenging articles, puzzles every morning, and one new conversation with someone outside her family each week. The result? Within 3 months, she reported improved memory, brighter mood, and a sense of purpose that had been missing for years. The brain thrives on novelty and engagement. That's why it's critical to keep learning, not passively, but actively. Don't just read for comfort. Read to challenge your beliefs. Don't just watch TV. Engage in discussions. Take up a new hobby. Learn a new language. Join a class, even online. Conversations that stretch your thinking, that challenge your assumptions, are not just enriching, they're neuroprotective. And don't underestimate the power of human connection. Isolation is a silent threat to mental health. It increases stress, weakens immunity, and speeds up cognitive decline. But when you interact, when you share stories, laugh, debate, listen, you keep your mind flexible. Social engagement isn't just about having company. It's about keeping your brain alive. So if you want to stay sharp, treat your brain like your body. Challenge it, nourish it, and never stop using it. And speaking of nourishment, there's one more daily activity that's often underestimated, yet it's tied to everything we've discussed so far: walking. Not just walking for the sake of movement, but walking with intention, posture, strength, and presence. Let's explore why your next steps might just be the most powerful habit of all. 6. Walking with intention, your most underrated superpower after 70. You might think walking is too simple to matter. But here's the hook. After 70, walking isn't just movement. It's your brain's workout, your posture trainer, your balance practice, and your emotional reset, all in one. The truth is, walking with purpose is one of the most powerful habits you can build in later life. But I'm not talking about just pacing around the house or going from the car to the store. I'm talking about intentional walking with posture, strength, breath, and presence. When done right, walking becomes a full-body practice that strengthens your legs, aligns your spine, stimulates your brain, and supports your emotional health. I remember Harold, 82, who once told me, "I thought walking was what you did when you couldn't do anything else. Now I realize it's the one thing I should never stop doing." After just 3 weeks of mindful walks, focusing on his gait, posture, and breath, he reported less joint stiffness, better mood, and clearer thinking. Here's why. Walking activates circulation, engages your core, and improves coordination. It also enhances neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to stay adaptable and resilient. And when done outdoors, the benefits multiply. Sunlight boosts vitamin D and regulates sleep. Natural sights and sounds reduce stress and inflammation. To walk intentionally, start by checking your posture. Shoulders back, chin level, core gently engaged. Breathe deeply through your nose. Keep a steady, purposeful stride, not rushed, not distracted. This isn't about distance, it's about connection to your body and your environment. Even 10 minutes a day can make a measurable difference in balance, cognition, and overall vitality. Want to take it further? Walk with someone. Conversation while walking activates multiple regions of the brain, strengthens emotional bonds, and makes the experience more joyful. Don't underestimate the power of shared movement. In cultures where people live the longest, walking isn't exercise, it's life. So if you've been sitting too long, if your steps feel hesitant, it's time to make walking your new daily ritual. Not just to move, but to reclaim rhythm, freedom, and presence. Now that we've talked about the body and the mind, it's time to zoom out one last time, to reflect on the deeper meaning of it all, how these simple daily choices shape the legacy of your later years. Let's bring everything together in a powerful closing message. 7. Social connection is not optional, it's essential for survival. We often think of friendships and conversations as nice to have, but after 70, they're not optional, they're essential for survival. Here's the hook. Loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and it can shrink your brain faster than any disease. You can eat well, move daily, and sleep properly, but without connection, your health will suffer. Isolation weakens the immune system, increases inflammation, raises the risk of cognitive decline, and even accelerates death. I remember Gerald, 81, a man who told me, "I feel like I'm vanishing." His body was still strong, but his spirit was quietly fading. That changed when he began attending a simple weekly coffee group. No therapy, no programs, just genuine conversations. Within weeks, his appetite improved, his sleep deepened, and his blood pressure dropped. All because he felt seen again. You see, our brains are wired for connection. Conversations activate areas tied to memory, emotion, and decision-making. Touch, eye contact, shared laughter, these aren't luxuries. They're nourishment for the nervous system. But as we age, many withdraw. Friends pass away, mobility becomes harder, and the sentence, "I'm used to being alone," becomes far too common. But silence chips away at our resilience. We need people just like we need oxygen. The good news is that connection doesn't have to be complicated. A phone call while walking, tea with a neighbor, a shared online class, even a kind word at the grocery store, these micro moments rebuild the spirit. And if it's been a while, that's okay. Start small. Say hello. Ask how someone's really doing. Listen without rushing. You'll be amazed at how quickly warmth returns and how deeply your health responds. Because real healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in relationship. And now, we've come to the final piece, the thread that weaves everything together, your purpose. You've learned to move smarter, eat better, train your brain, and reconnect with others. But what keeps all of that alive? What gives your days meaning, your steps direction, and your spirit strength? That's where we're headed next. 8. Purpose and meaning are your greatest medicine. At the heart of every long life is a reason to live. A reason to rise in the morning, to show up, to contribute, even in small, quiet ways. Because here's the truth. Muscles give you strength, food gives you fuel, connection gives you comfort, but purpose gives you direction. Without it, even a healthy body can feel empty. But with it, even challenges feel meaningful. Purpose doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It could be tending a garden, calling your grandchildren every Sunday, volunteering at the local library, or simply writing down your life story. What matters is that it pulls you forward. I remember June, 84, a former nurse who felt adrift after retiring. When we talked, she said, "I miss being needed." We created a simple plan. Once a week, she would mentor young nursing students online. That one change gave her life structure, joy, and a new sense of identity. She told me, "I feel useful again." And that feeling? It's healing. Studies have shown that older adults with a strong sense of purpose live longer, recover faster from illness, and suffer less from depression. Purpose improves sleep, reduces inflammation, and even boosts immune function. It's not wishful thinking, it's biochemistry. The body listens to the mind. And when the mind is focused, hopeful, and engaged, the body responds. But purpose can fade quietly if we're not careful. It slips away in routine, in isolation, in the belief that I've done enough. But the truth is, your experience, your wisdom, and your voice matter now more than ever. There is always someone who can benefit from what you've lived through, if you're willing to share it. So I ask you now, what gives your life meaning today? What small action could reconnect you to your why? Maybe it's time to return to something you once loved, or to try something you've never dared. Your purpose isn't behind you. It's right here, waiting for your attention. And with that, we've come full circle. You've learned how to move with strength, eat with purpose, think with clarity, connect with intention, and now live with meaning. If this message spoke to you, I invite you to like this video, subscribe for more expert guidance, and share in the comments what gives your life purpose right now. Let's learn from each other and keep moving forward together. If you've made it to the end of this video, then you already understand something most people never do. Aging well is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Strength, balance, nutrition, rest, mental clarity, connection, and purpose, these aren't optional. They are the building blocks of your independence, your confidence, and your peace of mind. You don't need to live in the gym. You don't need to chase perfection. What you need is to respect the wisdom of your body and feed the fire of your mind. You need to move with intention, eat to fuel your strength, connect to stay alive inside, and wake up each day knowing that you still have something meaningful to give. Maybe you saw yourself in Joseph, who rediscovered his strength, or in Claire, who learned how to balance again. Maybe you felt like Ruth, needing to sharpen your mind, or like Gerald, quietly fading without connection. Or perhaps you're like June, searching for purpose after a long life of service. Whoever you are, wherever you are not alone. There is still so much life ahead. Not the kind that just passes you by, but the kind you can actively shape, enjoy, and share. It's never too late to shift the path you're on. One mindful meal, one balanced step, one meaningful conversation, one small act of courage. These are not minor things. They're how vitality begins. So here's my invitation to you. Don't just close this video and move on. Take one action today. Just one. Start a walking ritual. Add more protein to your meals. Call someone you've been meaning to reach out to. Or simply take a moment to write down what gives your life meaning right now. Backhand index pointing right if this video resonated with you. Please like it, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, share your story in the comments. Tell us, what is one change you're ready to make today for your health, your independence, or your joy? Because when you share, you inspire. And when we learn from each other, we don't just grow older, we grow stronger. Together,